will do great.
Part 1. First Impressions and the Background.
Introduction, the interview anxiety.
Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome back to Mi2 English Club. I'm Emily.
And I'm Paul. Hello, everyone. Emily, look at me today. I am wearing a blue tie, a white shirt, and my jacket, but my hands are shaking. I am very, very nervous.
You look incredibly professional today, Paul. The tie really suits you. But tell me, why are you so nervous? Are you going to a real job interview?
Yes, Emily, it is a big day for me. I found a job opening that I really like. It is a company based in London, and it is my dream job. But I am absolutely scared. My English is not perfect, and I keep thinking, what if I forget all my words?
Take a deep breath, Paul. It is completely normal to feel nervous. Even native English speakers get butterflies in their stomachs before an interview. But let me tell you a secret. Most companies value your actual skills, your attitude, and your energy much more than perfect grammar. You don't need to be flawless, Paul, but you do need to be prepared.
Prepared? Yes, that is why I am here. But I have this deep fear that the interviewer will speak too fast and I won't understand the questions. Then there will be a long, awkward silence.
We are not going to let that happen. We will help you step by step. In this first part of our guide, we're going to cover the absolute essentials, how to handle the initial greeting, the key paperwork vocabulary, and that famous, unavoidable first question, tell me about yourself.
Okay, deep breath in, deep breath out. Let's start the lesson before I lose my courage completely, Emily. Let's do this.
Vocabulary, the paperwork. Wonderful energy. Now, before you walk through that office door, you need to confidently know 3 essential words. The very first one is the document in your hand, resume or CV.
Ah, yes, resume. I heard both words when I was looking for jobs online. In America, they usually say resume, but in the UK and Australia, they often say CV, which stands for curriculum vitae. It is the piece of paper with my contact details, education, and work history.
Spot on, Paul. Excellent explanation. Listeners, let's practice the pronunciation together. Repeat after Paul. Focus on the resume sound. Paul, go ahead.
Resume.
One more time, everyone.
Resume.
Perfect. The next key word you must know is position. In an interview context, this simply means the specific job title or the role you applied for.
Position. Right, so instead of just saying, I want a job, I should know my position, like sales manager, accountant, or administrative assistant. Let's practice this word together, listeners. Position.
Great pronunciation. And finally, our third word is interviewer. This is the person or sometimes the group of people sitting across the table asking you the questions.
Interviewer. The person who holds my future in their hands. I really hope the interviewer in London is as nice and patient as you, Emily. Let's practice. Interviewer.
I'm sure they will be professional, Paul. Just remember these 3 words, resume, position, and interviewer. They form the foundation of your meeting.
Step 1. The greeting and small talk.
Now, let's visualize the moment. You walk into the room. The very first step is the greeting. When you see the interviewer, make eye contact, smile warmly, and say a clear, good morning or good afternoon.
Emily, let me ask you a question about body language. Should I shake hands? With all the different cultures, I never know if it's correct.
That is a very common question. In many traditional business settings, a firm handshake is standard. However, nowadays, a polite nod, a warm smile, and a respectful wave are always safe and universally accepted. Now, after the greeting, the interviewer will try to break the ice. They might say, "How are you today?"
Oh, that's easy. I practiced this in school. I can just smile and say, I'm very well, thank you. And you?
Exactly. Keep it polite and reciprocal. Next, they might try to make more conversation by asking about your journey. For example, did you find the office okay? Or how was the traffic?
Oh, if they ask, did you find the office okay? I shouldn't just say yes. I should say something like, yes, thank you. The directions you sent were very clear.
Wow, Paul, that is a fantastic response. This short exchange is what we call small talk. It isn't a test, it is just a friendly way to help everyone relax and build a connection before the formal questions start.
Step 2. Tell me about yourself.
Oh no, this is the part where my mind goes completely blank. It's so broad and hard. Where do I even start? Do I talk about my childhood, my hobbies, my cat? Definitely not your cat, Paul. Keep it professional and keep it simple. A perfect formula for language learners is to use three simple parts: who you are, your background, your experience, what you did in the past, and why you want this specific job.
Okay, let me try to use that formula right now. My name is Paul. I studied business at university. I worked as a clerk in an office for 3 years. I want to work here because I love your company's culture. How is that?
That is absolutely excellent. For an intermediate learner, that is a structurally perfect answer. You stated your background, and most importantly, you used the past tense perfectly when you said, I worked.
Yes, I remember our grammar lessons. When we talk about old jobs or past experiences, we must use the past tense verbs, often ending with the D or ED sound. I worked, I studied, I managed.
Let's practice that precise pronunciation right now. Listeners, listen to the sharp T sound at the end of worked. Repeat after Paul. I worked as a.
I worked as a.
And let's practice the D sound in studied. Repeat after Paul. I studied business.
I studied business.
Practice segment, Part 1 review. Now, let's put everything we've learned in Part 1 together into a realistic practice segment. I will play the role of the interviewer, and Paul, you will be the job candidate. We will speak clearly and slowly. Listeners, pay close attention to the flow. Dialogue. Good morning, Paul. It's a pleasure to meet you today. Please have a seat.
Good morning, Emily. It's very nice to meet you too. Thank you.
Did you find our office okay? The construction outside can be a bit confusing.
Yes, thank you. It was actually very easy to find because the directions on your website are perfect.
Wonderful to hear. Well, let's get started. Could you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Of course. My name is Paul. I studied business administration in my home country. After university, I worked in a small office as a clerk for 2 years. Now, I want to move to London and grow my career with your company.
Fantastic job, Paul. That felt natural and professional. Now, listeners, it's your turn to practice. We'll break Paul's introduction into 3 sentences. Repeat out loud after Paul.
Sentence 1. I studied business. Sentence 2. I worked in a small office. Sentence 3. I want to grow my career.
Part 1 conclusion.
Phew, Emily, I didn't forget my English vocabulary after all. Saying it out loud makes me feel a little more confident and much better about the whole process.
You should feel confident, Paul. You're doing a wonderful job. Your pronunciation is clear and your structure is easy to follow.
But Emily, my anxiety is returning because I know what comes next. What about the really difficult, tricky questions? Like when they ask, what are your weaknesses? I never know what to say without sounding bad.
Don't worry at all, Paul. We have you covered. In Part 2 of our guide, we're going to dive straight into handling strengths, discussing weaknesses safely, and how you can ask your own smart questions at the end of the interview.
That sounds incredibly useful. Let's take a very short break to grab a glass of water, listeners, and then we'll come right back to finish the interview preparation together.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.